I love this comic book, The Walking Dead, book number 15. Tyreese tries to communicate with the reanimated Julie, while Rick tries to get him to hold her head up so he can shoot her. Suddenly, Julie is shot in the head by Chris. Tyreese, in a fit of rage, grabs Chris by the neck and chokes him to death. Tyreese tells Rick that Chris will come back as a zombie and he will kill him again, slower this time. Rick leaves him to deal with his grief and tells the group about Chris and Julie's suicide pact, and how they came back despite not being bitten, though he leaves out the part about Tyreese killing Chris. Later, Rick lies awake with something clearly on his mind. The next day, Rick finds Tyreese burning the corpses of Julie and Chris. Rick informs him of what he told the others and says that he understands Tyreese's actions, even if the others wouldn't. Tyreese thanks him, and with a smile on his face, suggests they go back inside, since there is a lot of work to be done. Disturbed by Tyreese being cheerful, Rick asks him if he's okay, but Tyreese claims that he's fine. Rick tells Lori that he's worried about Tyreese acting as though nothing happened, and asks her to keep an eye on him over the following next few days. Lori is alarmed when she realizes Rick plans on leaving, but they are interrupted by Axel, who wants to know what happened last night. When Rick tells him, Axel is sorry to hear it, adding that he didn't trust Chris. When he walks away, Rick tells Lori to keep an eye on the prisoners too. At the garage, Rick elaborates that he was unable to sleep when he realized that since Julie and Chris came back without being bitten, they were all infected and will inevitably turn once they die. He tells his wife Lori that there is something he must do, and that he won't be gone for more than a day. With that, he rides off on a motorcycle. Dale asks Lori where Rick is going, but she doesn't know. She asks what the tools he's carrying her for, and he informs her that he intends to fix the outer fences. Lori asks Carol if she talked to Tyreese, but Carol replies that she doesn't know what to say and is instead giving him space. Meanwhile, Thomas introduces himself to Patricia, who was recently single after breaking up with Otis. Glenn and Maggie are exploring the prison. Maggie is stressed that her and Glenn's cell is right next to her dad's. She is so happy to be at the prison, though admits she misses the farm. Glenn is surprised Hershel even let them share a room, but Maggie says she's an adult and that decision is not his to make. They find a barbershop and decide to have sex in it. Rick rides a motorcycle on the highway. He is forced to zigzag through zombies while running some over. Meanwhile, Lori is hanging laundry out to dry and complains to Carol about how sick she is of Rick leaving her and Carl alone, and of him, Rick, in general. Hershel is marking the boundaries of his garden with Rachel and Susie, when Glenn and Maggie arrive with brand new haircuts, with Maggie's hair being shorter and Glenn's head being completely shaved. They inform them of the barber shop. Rachel and Susie are excited to cut their hair too. While Maggie takes them to the barber shop, Tyreese asks Glenn to come along so they can clean out the gym. He asks if Hershel wants to come along as well, but Hershel declines, reminding them that he has sworn off using guns. Rick rides through Wiltshire Estates, past more zombies. Meanwhile, Tyreese, Glenn, Andrea, and Billy head inside the gym to clear it. Tyreese tells them to stay close to the door so they can retreat if they run out of bullets. Rick has returned to the Atlanta campsite. He grabs a shovel. Back at the prison, as the group is clearing out the gym, Tyreese suicidally pushes forward, separating himself from the group and getting surrounded by the undead. He appears to be swarmed and eaten. Rick goes to Shane's grave and digs him up. When a reanimated Shane sits up, Rick tells him that his suspicions about the virus have now been confirmed. Rick tells Shane that he was a good man and wonders out loud if the situation had been reversed, if Shane would have come back to put him down or leave him to rot underground. Still, alive or whatever, Rick says that he has to put things right before shooting Shane in the head. He tells the now dead Shane he has to get back and informs him that he won't be burying him again. Hershel goes to search for Susie and Rachel in the prison. He finds the barbershop and looks on in horror at the decapitated heads of his twin daughters, Susie and Rachel. Tyreese takes a page out of Hershel's book with Julie. He tries talking to her, trying to get her to remember who she is, that she is human, that she is his daughter. Sadly, it does not work. Chris shoots her in the head and kills her a second time. Tyreese is already standing on the edge of the sanity cliff with Julie's first death. The second death breaks him completely and he kills Chris. Chris deserves it. I don't know if he loved Julie or not. Maybe his goal was simply to control and manipulate her so she did what he wanted. He killed her and she was okay with that. I think his whole "I shot too early" was all a ploy for sympathy. I think he always planned to shoot her first so she could not shoot him. Regardless, he is dead, and Tyreese killed his zombie version too. Double dead. Double dead is now the only way you die. Rick is worried about Tyreese, and I think he's right to be. When he solicits Glenn and a few others to go to the gym with him to clear it out, it appears he just wants to lift some weights, but his actions are masking his true intention, which is to end his life. Losing his daughter broke him. He can't be fixed. Killing Chris did not fix the problem. It could never bring Julie back. Rick's little adventure back to visit Shane. No one knows where he is going or why. From what Lori states, he's done this before and she hates it. He doesn't seem to care that it upsets her. He still does it anyway. She also says out loud she's sick of Rick and his behavior. This is a pattern of Rick's. He goes off and leaves her alone to take care of Carl and herself without explanation, without so much as telling her where he is going. I would be upset as well. This behavior is disrespectful to both Lori and their marriage. In light of where he is going and what he plans to do, it makes sense that he wouldn't tell her up front. But regardless of the reasons, he basically just left on a selfish trip to go shoot zombie Shane in the head. To kill him a second time. Though it was Carl that killed him the first. But, so he is replicating Tyrese's unhealthy behavior. That doesn't say good things about Rick's mental health. I doubt anyone is in good shape, but he's the leader. If he breaks, then how do they all survive? Thanks for tuning in to the I Love This Comic Book podcast. If you would like to make a donation in support of this podcast, you can through Cash App to Pasta26MC. That's pasta like the food, the number 2, the number 6, M as in monkey, C as in cat. If you would like to sponsor this podcast or advertise on it, please send an email to podcast@pastasworld.com. As always, you can go to pastasworld.com for more information.